another person who registered, but we should just go ahead with not, waiting on them, but I kind of want to be mindful of that. I just sent that. Did you see that spreadsheet this morning, Patty?
Yes.
Okay. I have too many tabs open. I can't find it.
Well, welcome to our Ask Us Anything for Nonprofits session. We are happy to answer any questions you have for us. We can also present some tips and things that we have to share as well at some point if you like. So just by way of introduction, my name is Patty Breach, and I work with the Purpose Collective, which is a digital marketing consulting firm that works with purpose-driven organizations.
Patty, your audio is not great.
That's a shame.
That's better when you hold it up like that, though.
This is better, or should I get a different set of headphones?
What do you think, Jill?
Is your mic input turned up? Do you know how to do that?
No.
On your screen down in the bottom left where you have the little microphone where you can mute yourself, if you hit that up arrow and you click on select a microphone, you can select, your headset, and then you can, actually that's not it. It's, I'm sorry, audio settings at the very bottom there, that up arrow. And then you can adjust your microphone input. And mine tends to be too loud, so I'm gonna back mine off a little bit.
So I would turn off the automatically adjust one. Is this better?
Yeah.
It's still
lower or
it's scratchy.
It's like you have a high pass on it. It sounds like you're talking like this.
Well, that sucks. I'll go get another set of headphones.
All right, I'll introduce myself. I'll introduce myself in the meantime. So my name is Karen Spiess, and my company is SpyLabz. And I've been working with small businesses and for about 10 years doing WordPress sites and digital marketing. And I have a long history. I was the CFO of the Boulder Fringe Festival starting in 2005 for 5 or 6 years. And I have a long history of working with arts and health related nonprofits.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Well, what organization are you with, Jill?
So what do I do? So my name's Jill Rumley, and I actually work for a number of organizations. I'm currently on the Boulder Art Association board. I'm their marketing chair, so I built their website. I do all their marketing stuff and all their promotions. I'm also an active member on the board. I've been on other boards before with the the Firehouse Art Center and the Longmont Artists Guild. Yeah, I've been doing marketing and building websites for probably almost over 20 years now, I guess. It's obviously changed throughout those decades.
A lot.
A lot. Yeah. So, yeah, I've been focusing mainly on Longmont for the last few years since I've moved here. And now I'm kind of branching out towards Boulder a little bit more. And as I get to know more groups and more people. So I was actually just kind of intending to just sit here and just kind of watch you guys, but I don't really have any questions. Because I'm like, I don't even know what this is. It's my first time here. So I'm like, oh, I just thought I'd kind of linger in the background, but.
No, that's great. So Patty and I had talked about basically welcome email sequences.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what we had talked about it's what Patty had proposed that we discuss today. And I think we're going to start making these talks a little more themed. We had 6 or 7 people show up last month. And I think it's because it was a new thing, but we need to possibly put out a topic each time.
Yeah, I think that would be really great. And I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I definitely utilize the welcome series with all of my stuff.
Good.
I haven't really done it for the art association yet, but we do have a welcome email. So at least we welcome people aboard when they join our list or become a member. So Yeah.
That's great. So can you guys hear me better now?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm so glad to hear, Jill, that you actually know what those are, because a lot of the time when I have this conversation, the first question I get is, what's a welcome journey?
Hmm.
So you're ahead of the pack
Yes, it's a
already.
nurturing series.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people just freak out even when you just say newsletter. And that's kind of, I've got my own little marketing business called Artist Marketing Help, where I'm actually just trying to like get the message out to artists that newsletters are like the best way to connect with your audience, and that you can use social media and all of these other tools also to get people on your mailing list. But your mailing list is really gold. And so, and they just go, newsletter,
I
I
mean,
know. Sorry, go ahead,
yeah,
Karen.
it's fine. It's a commitment, right? And then plus, if you sign up, I think a lot of the issue is that a lot of sites now realize the value of having, a mailing list. So they force you to sign up to get for stuff that, they offer you this like juicy treat. And all you have to do is give your email address, and then you end up with an email inbox full of stuff and you're just overwhelmed.
you always unsubscribe at that point, you know.
Right,
I
right.
mean, I do kind of like, I mean, that is one way to entice people, but don't be, I mean, there's certain ways to go about it. Like with artists, you can offer people free shipping or a coupon, or, how to care for your art download kind of thing as an exchange for an email.
Right.
And as a small, like individual business person, you're not going to be like inundating people with
Right, but what
bunches
I'm
of
saying
emails.
is that's
That's this
probably why
business.
artists are cringing when you're saying that, because they're
Yeah,
having that experience of being overwhelmed with
personally.
irrelevant
Mhm.
newsletters.
Yeah, it's hard to get them past the, I don't want to spam people. And it's like, well, you're not spamming people because these are your people. These are the people who, have seen you, met you in some context, love you, love your art. They want to hear from you.
Yeah.
And, you're not going to be emailing them 4 times a day. You're probably going to email them once a month if you manage that.
Right.
So,
And all of this just makes me think, like, I, to be honest, I cringe a little bit at the word newsletter, because I think it's
mhm,
been so poorly handled. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't want to write a newsletter, then people might not want to read it. Like, it's like you want to put something of
mhm,
value out there for your
yeah.
readers, and you want to connect with them in a real way, and you want to be genuine and
Mhm.
authentic and all those great things. So, like, people think that a newsletter has to follow a certain formula, and it has to talk about the news of your organization, and it has to, like, go through this list of, like, here's what we did last week, and here's what we did the week before, and here's what we're doing next week. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that way. You could just sit down and write a really heartfelt message to your supporters.
Mhm.
The point is, you should talk to them once a month, so that you stay top of mind and you stay connected, but, like, it
I
doesn't
just read.
have to follow a formula.
Right. I know. And actually, I am just writing my newsletter for the Boulder Art Association this morning. And I just remembered that we should probably mention what happened with King Supers, because we didn't put out a message about
Oh,
that. So we
yeah.
should do that. I'll have our president write something, because we don't send out a whole lot of emails. We usually do most of our communicating through Instagram, because that seems to be the best reach for us. So
Yeah, it's a
yes,
great
I
place
will
for art.
ask her to write something about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on your list. And I'm sure Patty's probably on your list too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have a lot of people. So yeah, I'm the one that's been doing the newsletter. So any feedback would be great.
I usually just get the the events list and
Oh,
the artist opportunities list.
that's not us.
No.
No, we're the
Oh.
Boulder Art Association, BAA. We're
Oh,
much
not the
smaller. Yeah,
BCAA.
we're not the
Okay.
BCAA.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I know, I know. It's we get mixed up with them. It's
I
confused a
used to
lot.
get so confused, but then I got really involved with the BCAA and I was thinking to
Mhm.
myself, why haven't I met Jill yet?
Oh, because I'm not
So
there.
there we
Yeah,
go.
yeah, no, that's yeah. So it's the Boulder Art Association, BAA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I should check you guys out, but then I'm not on your
Yes.
list.
BoulderArtAssociation.org.
Yeah,
That's
the
our,
other thing that I think is really helpful to do with newsletters, if you can, is segmenting them and sending different versions of them. So this is all up to your like ability level, especially your like the ability of your technology, the programs that
well,
you're using.
yeah, I can do all that. I just don't have time because I
Right.
also have a job working for I actually have a paying job and I'm volunteering in a couple places and trying to do my own business. So it's like we're not really
Oh,
we don't have the support to do.
Mhm.
We get it barely done. So we're
Jill, sorry, it's boulderartassociation.org.
mm-hmm.
I'm getting an X domain. Boulder Art Association.
It's a mouthful. Boulder Art
SSOCIA. Oh, I missed an I.
Association.org. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's
it's
my
working.
problem. Okay, I've got you now.
I know we should just have BAA.org and have it
Yeah,
point to
it's
it.
actually it's already taken because I tried that. It's like the
Uh-huh.
Boston Marathon people or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we I mean it's like I said, we just redesigned the website. And a lot of the way things are just based on the input from the board. Like we don't do a pop-up newsletter opt-in because they didn't want that. So I do need to actually add one up at the top, an opt-in, and one in the footer. I just haven't quite done that yet. So
Patty, do you want to talk about a welcome journey sequence?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, an email welcome journey, as you all know, is a series of emails that is triggered by an action that someone takes with you. So that might be somebody comes to your website and they sign up for your newsletter, or they donate to you, or they sign up to be a volunteer, or they sign your petition, or they buy your product, whatever it is, they initiate the first action. And then your series of emails is triggered as a follow up. So research shows that this window of opportunity immediately following the time that someone takes an action with you is the best possible time to contact them. This is when people want to hear from you. So if they have, done their research on you, maybe they heard about you through word of mouth and they looked you up online and they read a few of your blog posts and they've decided, yeah, this is an organization that I want to be involved with, they're fired up about you at this point. And so one of the worst possible things that you can do is to greet that action with silence. And I see that happen a lot with nonprofits where you make a donation, you get a donation receipt email, and then that's it. And you get nothing else
Thanks, goodbye.
for days. And to me,
Not
that's
even thanks. Yeah, go ahead.
right. Just here's your receipt. Here's our EIN number. Contact us with questions. And so I just feel I have put welcome journeys into place for organizations, and I have seen really wonderful things happen with them. So basically, you just want to shower people with gratitude and really validate their decision. Even if it was just signing up for your newsletter, you want to really make them feel like, wow, we're so glad you're here. Thank you so much for signing up. You made a really good decision. You are part of our community now. It's wonderful that you're here. Welcome. Thank you. That's the sentiment that you want to express, especially in the first of the series. So I always recommend that your series should be anywhere from 4 to 5 emails, and it should cover 2 to 4 weeks after that initial action. So whatever it is that they did, they should get an automatic confirmation like, okay, you donated, you get a receipt. And then I think within 1 to 24 hours later, you should send another message that's just gratitude, just welcoming them, just saying it is so wonderful that you just did what you did. Another funny thing that the research tells us is that people love to read about actions that they just took. So if you just signed a petition, we love to read an email that says, you just signed a petition. Great job. It's so funny, but we do. We love to read about ourselves and what we just did. And so I would say within 1 to 24 hours, send one of those messages. And then over the course of the next few weeks, send other things of value to these people. So your goal is to really draw them into your community make them feel welcome, and make them feel like they matter. So you could send them something, for example, that says, hey, by the way, we're so glad to have you here. We just wanted to give you this discount code if you have a store. We'd love for you to be able to take advantage of a discount off of our whatever. Or, hey, we have some events coming up. We'd really love to see you there. Do you want to come to one of these? Here's our next, 3 events that are coming up in the next month. Or this is our most watched video of the year 2020. It was super popular. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but I thought you might like to watch it. Here's this for you. What you don't want to do with these welcome series is you don't want to talk too much about yourself. And you don't want to say, we are an organization that is doing really wonderful things and we are great because we did X, Y, and Z, and we're planning to do more, and we're wonderful.
And another thing, Patty, I wanted to add that you could put is something like, here are some events or some things that members of our community are doing. You should check these out. Also, if you're doing anything, we could list it. So then it's not only, it works both ways, and it kind of opens up some communication.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm also a big fan of putting a plain text email somewhere in this series. So a plain text just means there's no HTML formatting on it. It's very similar to what you would get if I opened Gmail and I typed out a message to you. In this day and age, we all get a lot of corporate messages that feel very shiny and kind of impersonal, kind of like one size fits all, like, here's us and our logo and our photos, and isn't this impressive? And I do think sprinkling in some plain text messages can really help break through the noise, because those feel personal. And so maybe you send a plain text email that's from you or from your executive director or from whoever it makes sense for it to be from, but from an actual person who takes, just a paragraph or two to say something like, hey, I'm really glad you're here. This community always impresses me. There's so many wonderful people that are a part of it. I'm really glad to count you as one of those people now. By the way, if there's anything that we can do to improve our services for you, if there's any feedback you have for us, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Something like that can really make it seem like this organization, first of all, it's an organization full of people, and these people care about me. Because what your supporters want most is to be seen. They want to know that you see who they are, you appreciate who they are. They're not just, a drop in the bucket. They're not another name on a list. They're real to you, just like you want to appear real to them.
Absolutely.
So I think the welcome series is also a great opportunity to upsell people. So if somebody made a donation, usually the last email that I would send them in the series about a month later would be asking them to become a monthly donor. Or if somebody signed up for your newsletter, the last email could be, hey, do you want to support us with a donation? Just trying to move people along to becoming more involved with your organization as a result of this series.
I have a question. So our organization, we don't really push the donations, which is why I'm starting to get in on this, because we don't even have a fundraising chair right now. It's kind of vacant. So I think that we could do better with our fundraising. And we basically get most of all of our money from memberships and from member shows. And so that upsell part, I'm just wondering how, in the context of like a membership based organization, what ideas do you have about that?
Yeah, so one thing you might want to consider is sending a survey out as part of your welcome series. Just like we like to read about things that we did, we like to talk about ourselves. And so if there's a survey that you can send that has questions that would be compelling to answer, like, Are you an artist? Do you like tell us about the role of art in your life? You know, what kinds of communication would you like to hear from us? Are you most interested in events? Are you interested in music? Are you interested, whatever it might be? If there's, you never want that survey to be too long, but if there's a way that you can fit in a question of like, are you interested in becoming a member? Um, or whatever criteria you use to determine who would be a good fit for membership, you could ask those questions and then follow up with those people to say, hey, we'd really like to tell you about our membership program. We think it's perfect for you.
I was thinking, one of the biggest gaps we have is actually getting volunteers and getting people to participate more actively in the planning. I mean, we currently have 100 active members, and there's 6 to 8 of us that do everything, which has been the common thread on every organization I've
I
ever
was going to say
been
that
on.
doesn't sound unusual to me.
Yeah, and I mean, when we do, need help running the show, people do step up, but nobody really wants to commit to being on the board, even though, it's one meeting a month. Um, but I was thinking that last email could be just say, hey, we have these positions open. This is the time commitment. This is the description. That could be kind of like, especially on our membership series, when somebody joins as a member, maybe that upsell could be like, here's your opportunity to give back in time.
I would frame it not as, here's these positions that we need filled, but like, you know, a- as more of like a story of someone of an artist who's really connected in the community, and they got that way through their involvement with, BCA or whatever, right? And something like that. And also I had a question, do you have membership levels or you just have a membership?
We, well, the levels would be like a family membership or a student membership or a business level membership, but pretty much everybody just does an individual membership. It's pretty just a standard, you get to be a member. And when we were meeting in person, that membership got you into the member meetings for free. If you were not a member, then it was $5 because we
Mm,
always have a guest artist giving a demonstration. But during the last year, when we've moved virtual to Zoom, we don't do that.
right.
At this point, we just let anybody come in. And so, yeah, that was a long answer to a short question, but just pretty much one level. It's just you're a member.
Right. But what I'm saying is, as far as fundraising and involvement, maybe people want the opportunity to interact. Like if there were benefits that you could offer for a, like an individual deluxe membership or something. You know what I'm saying? As far as fundraising, not necessarily along with the welcome sequence. But you could do, you've been a member for a year, you know, what about upping your membership, and we'll do a once, twice a year, we'll do a an exhibition of these member plus people's work, or you know what I mean? Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely bring that up to the board. I mean, we have a lot of opportunities. We're affiliated, well, not affiliated, but we rent space at the art gallery down there on Broadway, and we have a wall in there. And, a membership plus would get you, access to that wall. Right now, we just offer it to the members, and it's juried,
Mm,
which they kind of prefer to do because they want a certain quality of art in the gallery.
sure.
But that's definitely something I can talk to the board about to see about membership levels and like, what would a, what would it, what more could we offer to higher levels? Because we have like a gallery page on our site that we give everybody. We have that wall, and then we do 2 member shows a year. So, that's yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
know it's the perpetual problem, in all nonprofits, is you like, how do you stay connected with your community and provide them value and create enough money through, donations and grants and whatever to just to operate. So, yeah.
I'm curious to know a little bit more about what sorts of volunteer opportunities you have available. So one you mentioned was serving on the board. Are there more beyond that?
Yeah, we have well, we have advisory members for the board, so they don't really hold a specific position like I'm the marketing chair or the exhibition chair or the secretary or whatever. And then we also have committees. So we have like a marketing committee, we have an exhibition committee. Um, and underneath that, then we usually only need volunteers to help us when we do a show. So helping with setting up and taking down and, accepting the art when it comes in, and then um, opening up the gallery, certain hours. So one of the things that we do ask is when you are part of a show, it's usually just $25 to enter your piece. It's not juried, it's guaranteed. And then we ask for 3 hours volunteer time to sometime during that month for you to come in and help us hold the gallery open for 3 hours.
Cool. Yeah. So what I found with recruiting volunteers, and I do think if you're going to do a survey, that's a great thing to incorporate is questions about volunteering. Um, or that could even just be its own email in the series. Like,
Can I ask a question related to your survey, Patty?
yeah.
So Jill, what kind of a system do you use to send out your emails and to manage your email contacts?
We use MailChimp.
Okay,
Cool.
great. So when you create this survey that Patty's talking about, you can tag each of those entries, right? Set it up so it tags them. Then you can create another sequence like Patty was talking about before, not before, but earlier, where 6 months later you could be like, this person is tagged as, acrylic painter, whatever, and you could have a special sequence that's just for the people who are acrylic painters, right?
Yeah. And MailChimp should make that easy for you. They have a built-in survey feature.
Yeah, the difficulty we run into is getting the actual people to fill out the forms correctly. Our current membership enrollment form is actually a MailChimp form. So they fill that out and then it tags them in as a current member, and then it sends them to another location to process the payment. It's a little bit clunky right now, but that's the quickest way we could get it done this year. um, because they wanted to go fully away from like mailing in applications. They wanted it all. And so since we're using MailChimp as our CRM, that was just like the easiest way to do it. We're trying to figure out another way to make that payment process a little bit connected, because it doesn't work because we use PayPal. And so, yeah, we're still kind of hacking stuff together. Even though
Yeah.
we've been around for a while, it's just keeping up to date and making things simple for our audience, and realizing that our audience is a specific generation of people with, some have higher tech skills, but the majority of them don't and may not be comfortable with certain things and can't get things to work. And, it gets complicated making it easy for everyone, which is what we try to do. It's like the lowest common denominator. Let's make it as simple as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Jill, have you thought about sending people directly to PayPal and then taking your list of payments from PayPal and then putting that directly into MailChimp
Um, I think the
instead of the other
way,
way around? Yeah.
yeah, that I could definitely think about that. So we send them to the PayPal page and then it redirects to the membership page rather than the
So
other
you
way
send them
around.
to PayPal page, they make their membership payment and it
Mhm.
says, thank you. And then I bet you could do it with Zapier. I
They
bet
don't
you
want
could
to
do it with
sign up for
Zapier.
anything else.
Zapier is free. Zapier is free and it connects, it works as an API and connects different
Right.
systems like this.
Yeah, but they
It
don't want
used to
another
be
system is what I'm saying.
right,
It's not
but
the
what I mean
cost.
is you just set it up one time. And
Yeah.
what it could do is make it so that people would go to PayPal, make their payment,
Oh,
and
I
then it
see.
would populate them into the
Gotcha.
MailChimp
Gotcha.
main thing. Yeah, I'm not talking
I was
about
thinking, I
more
wasn't
work.
thinking about Zapier. I was thinking about another
Yeah.
thing. Now I understand what you're talking about now. Yeah, I will look into that. Because
And
that would be
if
great.
really, if you wanted to do, I mean, depending on how much automation you can do, you could just take that, make that PayPal email the the first one and then transfer all the, I'm sorry, I'm not talking very well right now. A little distracted. Then make that the first one out of their sequence email. Because I believe you can generate like a CSV even of people who've purchased a certain item in your PayPal account. Do you
I
know about that,
also,
Patty?
yeah, I also believe that MailChimp and PayPal have an integration, so you might be able to skip Zapier altogether and just um, basically build a PayPal payment form into your MailChimp form.
Yeah, I will look into that. I think we're using the free version of MailChimp, which
Yeah, I
limits
see
us a
one.
little
It
bit.
says Zapier, actually. I will put in the chat right now. It says PayPal and MailChimp in less than 2 minutes integration. So there you go. That's that system I was talking about, Zapier. Automatically subscribe new PayPal customers to MailChimp lists. There you go. It's a button.
And here's what MailChimp has to say about their native integration.
Oh, they have a native integration. Is that what you're saying, Patty?
Mm-hmm. So what I was going to say about volunteers, though, is I bet you've experienced this as well. I've found that the clearer you can be about what it means to volunteer, the better. So if you can say something like, we're looking for people who know how to use Excel and who can help us for 1 hour a month with deduplicating our data. I don't know, I just made that up. Or, oh, you're on mute, sorry.
No, I think Jill is being super precise and taking herself on and off mute as she needs to speak. That's not your
Yeah,
fault,
no,
Patty.
that's me. Yeah, I tend to do that just in case the doorbell rings or the cat howls or whatever. Yeah, no, let's see, what were we saying there? And I completely lost my train of thought.
Volunteers, being specific about.
Yes. If we could, yeah, if we could be, the more specific we could be, like you said, just say, hey, do you have, like we're looking for someone who knows this and can do this for this amount of time.
Yeah, and even saying like, we want 3 hours of your time to volunteer at the gallery. Like, the more specific you can be with that, the better. Like, they must be 3 consecutive hours. You could choose whether it's a weekday or a weekend. You could choose morning or afternoon.
And
Things like
what will
that.
you do there for those 3 hours?
Right.
Yeah. Like will you talk with people? Will you talk about like, and I hear Jill talking about how her audience is a different, somewhat technologically challenged. And I've been doing some volunteer work with the Flatirons Food Film Festival, and we ran an all online festival this year. And the majority of the people in that, I mean, I would say 50% of the attendees were over 65. So I hear you about the technological challenges and how frustrating that can be now that, most stuff is online, but hopefully we'll get back to in person here shortly.
Jill, there's another really cool tool that I love to use. It's called Sly Broadcast. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but basically what it does is it lets you record a voicemail and then send that voicemail to as many landlines or cell phone numbers as you like. I think it lets you start off with like 100 free messages or something, and then it's like 10 cents a message after that. But the way it works is your phone rings for a fraction of a second, not long enough to pick up, and then the voicemail is left for you. So I think it's a really nice way for you to, if you have people's phone numbers, or if there's a way you can start collecting them, it's a great way to, for a more personal touch point that's not part of email, And it's also not that, it doesn't require as many volunteer hours. Like you don't need people sitting and dialing numbers and like waiting for people to pick up. You can just do a batch of it at once. If you have the right type of message, whatever it might be, like, hey, this is Jill calling to say thank you so much for signing up to become one of our members. We're really glad to have you. If you have any questions for me, here's my number. You can call me anytime. Or maybe it's something like, hey, we've got a show at the gallery next week and we could really use volunteers in the afternoons from 2 to 6. If you could be one of those people who could help us out, please call me back. I'd love to. Or you can go to our website, sign up.
That is awesome. You can add your own contact list, huh? You could instantly, it says 100 deliveries for $10. So for $10, you could make one voicemail and send it to 100 of your members asking for volunteer hours. It's brilliant.
You can it works with Zapier too. So if you wanted to automate it, you could.
Wow.
If you don't want to deal with Zapier, you don't have to.
That's pretty cool. Thanks.
Bring, hey, I noticed you signed up just now for our membership. And yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that would be great, especially with reminding people that it's time to come pick up your artwork tomorrow between 8 and 10 a.m.
Yeah, that could be
Yeah.
labor intensive, huh?
Well, we actually don't do that. We usually just send them emails, and but there's things still happen, and we usually end up with a few pieces that we're having to store for someone. So I mean, people forget or things happen. They go out of town or they're
Yeah.
ill or whatever. Anything can happen. But yeah, the voicemail thing sounds pretty cool. I might actually. I will definitely mention that. Well, I'm going to mention bunch of this stuff to them. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And
that's
there's a lot
great.
of texting programs too out there to choose from. Sly Broadcast has a sister company that does texting, but there's a lot of SMS messaging programs out there if
Yeah,
that feels like a better fit.
yeah, and also there's some sequences you can do in Facebook messages, like or mini chat is one. But I found, Patty, that although Jill's pretty technically savvy, but some of those the interface is just so hard. It's so poorly designed. It's so hard to use. Have you
For the
found one that's a
texting?
good one?
For the texting, you mean? Yeah. There is one that I like, but I agree with you. I think a lot of these things could be more user friendly. It's called, it's like avocado, but it's spelled like avocado.
How weird.
I like them. They seem pretty cool, but they're also not free. So I can share the link.
Avocado. Yeah.
Yeah, I also don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah. Mini chat, many chat is okay. But when you get into creating sequences with that, it can get a little mind blowing. And I've used Twilio as well. There's a lot of different ones.
Twilio, I feel like is not like, if you have no developer experience, I don't know if you can use Twilio.
Yeah, it's definitely meant to be plugged into something like with a webhook or something.
Yeah.
Ooh, I do like the design on avocado. They did that on purpose. Their logo is an avocado. Interesting. Well, it helps you remember it, Patty, so that's a win.
Even if I can't say it, I guess I can remember how to Google it.
Just put avocado chat and you got it.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say the more that you can make a welcome series do work for you and save you staff time, the better. So if you're like wondering if people can be volunteers for you, throw that in the welcome series somewhere so that every time someone signs up, they're made aware of ways that they can get involved to volunteer. And ideally it would be like, if if you want to volunteer, like sign up here. And then they're just added to a volunteer list. So when you need to send an email saying we need people next week, it's loaded and ready to go for you. Like, here's 100 people for you to message right now.
Yeah, that I can definitely see the use in that. So, yep, it's just finding the time to get it all done.
I know
Um,
that's always the struggle.
yeah, and it's hard because everybody has different levels of tech savviness. We're still trying to work on getting the whole board on Google Docs.
I have had a similar struggle with boards and Google Docs.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's just really used to just doing everything a certain way, but it's just so much more effective if we're not passing documents back and forth through email. So we're working on training and doing a bunch of different things. So it's coming along. I mean, hopefully we won't have a lot of turnover and have to retrain people. That's the other problem sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Karen, anything else you want to add about the welcome series?
I mean, no. I mean, sadly, I have not implemented it in my own business.
It's hard
I'm
sometimes.
I'm thinking about it. It's the whole the cobbler's children always go barefoot kind of thing. So I'm sitting here ruminating, going, "Oh, I should implement this." But yeah, I don't know if I have anything to add, really.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think that's really great. The value, making sure that you provide value and that you're just not asking for things from them. Like, oh, here's a benefit of our membership. You get this member gallery page. This is what if you want to participate, this is what you do. This is where you send it, that kind of thing. And then another one's like, oh, did you know we have a YouTube channel? And if you teach art and you have your own YouTube channel, we'll feature you on ours and promote you. And then of course, upcoming events and volunteer lists and all that good
And
stuff.
Jill, one thing I've heard about in welcome email sequences is that you could also make it kind of story based, right? If you make it story based, you get a more emotional response from people. Whereas if you come at them and you're like, we offer this, we offer that,
Mhm.
it's a little bit, they will think about it more if it's a story. And it could be stories about, different members, which would be a great way to highlight people who are already members and show how involved you are with your current members. Um, just just always think emotion and story based when you're talking with people, because that's gonna like hook them in more.
Yeah, it's just getting the material for the stories is the it's the catch for
I mean,
us.
or you could just write to your current members and say, write us a one paragraph synopsis of your experience with our organization and make that part of your, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have
Yeah.
to do it all. You've got people, right, who believe in what you're doing, and just utilize them.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I'm a really big fan of testimonials. I think you mentioned that earlier, Karen. Things like first person perspectives are always much easier for us to wrap our head around than like a larger, like statistic. So hearing from someone who says, I'm an artist who was able to show one of my pieces in the gallery, and I got some really good inquiries from people who I ended up doing a commissioned piece after that. Like, thank you so much for, the BA's help with my career. Things like that are like, in that story form, sticks with us more than something that's like, we offer these services to these
Well,
types
yeah,
of
because
people.
you're showing the results of you're making people feel good that they've become a member, and showing them the possibilities for what they could get from their membership without listing it out in a very analytical list.
It's one of my curses. I'm very direct.
There's nothing wrong with being direct. It's fine, but just when you're like, just realize that giving people an emotional experience of reading your newsletter or journey sequence, that has value. That's actually value, right? It's
Oh
not
yeah.
just,
No, I totally agree with you. It's just as far as personality goes. That is an area that is constantly being worked on for me. I'm more of, here's the information, here you go, take it or leave it.
Right.
And I know that's not the way it works. So, just incorporating more of this, emotional intelligence and a lot more of this, storytelling kind of thing I'm taking a lot of classes trying to learn how to do that better.
Or you could
But
even have each of the board members write a paragraph saying why they got involved and became a board member. I mean, maybe if you want to
I
get more
could
people on your
try.
board,
I can ask, right?
volunteers. Why did you volunteer? And what
Mhm.
happened? Oh,
I like,
I met my neighbor that I'd lived next to for 10 years and I never talked to him before, but he showed up at you know what I'm saying? Like make people, if you're not good at it, get other people to do it and use it.
and I always use for these types of things, I collect them all the time, and I always use a Google form. And it's really simple. It's like name, email address, and then like 2 or 3 questions I want to ask. And I try to ask the questions in a way that will get creative answers, like, instead of like, what does this program mean to you? I might say like, if someone else was considering becoming a member, what would you tell them? Or, whatever it might be. But it's just one form, and you can email it out to anyone you want, the board, your artists, your members, whatever.
Google Forms is a great suggestion, Patty. That's really helpful. And then you have all the answers on one spot. You don't have to like this email, just emailing people for responses is for the birds.
Yeah, you don't have to like collect 14 different responses from your
You
inbox.
can also embed the form on your website, which works nicely.
You could, but you're going to get a better response if you reach out to them, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying in general,
Oh, yeah.
the forms, we use that for different things,
Oh,
like
gotcha. Yeah.
contacting us and stuff, because we've had some issues with emails being pilfered off our website and all of our members being emailed on a phishing scam. It was very bad. So I removed all the email links off the website. So we do
Yeah.
everything through forms now, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's the cost of doing business.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's really great. I love the way you word things, the way you're phrasing it. If someone is considering becoming a member, what would you tell them? And that immediately triggered in me, like, oh, I have a million things I could tell you. So, yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
Cool. Karen, any advice on email security while we're on the topic?
No, you're right to use forms. That's for sure. Yeah. That's my advice on email security. I'm more interested in site security really than email security. That's another whole thing. But yeah, as far as people contacting members, you should probably just have links to members' Instagram or links to members' Facebook pages or whatever, instead of putting out their own info, which is great because that's actually helping the SEO. If your members have websites and you're linking to their websites, you're helping their SEO, you're helping your SEO, right? So
Exactly.
that's another thing you could do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what we do. And for the people that do want their email on there, it's just not linked. It's just plain text.
Right.
But I encourage people, say, hey, if you have a website or a Facebook page or an Instagram profile or an Etsy shop or whatever you got, link to that instead of putting your email on there. People put
Right.
their phone numbers too, but we're like, okay, but you do realize, yeah, we'll put it there, but that's up to you.
Again, that's probably an age thing, really, because like of people of a certain generation, they don't want to talk on the phone to people, and other people like that's the way they connect. So
Yeah, I mean, I actually think if you're talking to someone about selling your art or coming to see your art, you should get on the phone with them
yeah,
because it's
no, I
such a
agree.
personal thing. But yeah, just kind of setting up, meeting here, meeting there, or just kind of do you have more information or something? But
Or making it a sequence, right? A sequence of engagement.
yes, definitely. That's for sure.
Well,
Awesome.
this is
I didn't catch that.
Oh,
Try
sorry.
tapping above to edit.
Geez, Sorry, Siri's losing his mind over here.
This has been a really fun session. Thank you so much for coming, Jill, and for all your questions and input and everything. This was
Oh,
great.
yeah, thank you. I look forward to these. I hope to be able to join them every month. And I think I've signed up for your class, your course, which is the one that's coming up in a couple weeks. Is that with you guys?
Do you have one, Patty?
With me?
Was it with you? Let me look at my calendar. I thought it
I-
was with you guys. It's what was it called? Okay, maybe I'm losing my mind, but that's okay.
It happens to all of us.
Oh, when you have to go to the dentist first thing in the morning, it's kind of like, oh. Might even be in May, but I don't know. It was like a certification, I thought, for nonprofit marketing. Was that you
No,
guys? That
that's
was
not
someone.
us.
Okay, that must be a different.
Yeah.
Sounds cool though.
Yeah, it is, and I can't seem to find that information, of course, at the moment. So
Well, hopefully it's in your calendar somewhere.
yeah, it's somewhere in that mess of a calendar for sure.
Awesome. Well, great to meet you, Jill. And like Patty said, thanks for your coming and your questions. And it's every time you ask something new, we have another way to solidify all of our experience in a way that's helpful. So thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you guys so much. And really, it was a great reminder about the email series, because it's one of those things I've just been putting on the back burner and putting on the back burner. And I have one for my own business, but I need to set one up for all my other clients. So,
Not fun to do, but once it's done, it's incredibly useful.
I like writing that kind of stuff. I'm kind of nerdy when it comes to organizing and doing, this and that, and if this, then that, and all that kind of stuff. I love working all that stuff out. It's just getting the content and not sounding too, getting a little more storytelling and a little more emotional in it. That's my weaker point, but that's something that can be learned. So I'm looking forward to
Well,
that.
I have a closing quote from you from the startup community. And I know that this happens to a lot of us who are artistic, where we want to make something perfect the first go round and say, we've done it, it's exactly right. But in the startup community, they say if you're not embarrassed by your first iteration, you waited too long to release it.
I like that.
Perfect.
Right? That's one of the powers of digital marketing is you can go in and change it like that.
Exactly.
Cool.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And we'll see you next month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see you around.
See you next time. Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.